talks so much, eventually he's bound to say something helpful.
But at that point, you're not listening, so.
Yeah, exactly. You know exactly how it is, don't you?
Yeah, I know exactly.
Okay. We're going to come back to number 1 because that's one of the tougher ones. We're going to go to number 3 first. So, we got a snowball that is rolling. So the snowball's getting bigger, the radius is getting bigger, the volume is getting bigger. Like as the thing gets bigger, like all these variables are changing, right? So we have a sphere. That's the volume. And every time I've seen this on the AP test, they give you the formula. They're not trying to mess. Like, they don't want you to get it wrong if you don't remember the formula. So I've seen them give it to you. What is the formula for volume of a sphere? 4/3.
Yes.
There you go. That is the formula for a sphere. So they tell me that it is growing at a rate of 36 pi over v. So what that tells me is the rate of change in the volume, or dv dt, is 36 over v. Oh, pi over v, sorry. Alright, how fast is the radius of the snowball increasing? So what's the variable that I'm looking for? Looking for dr dt. That's the change in the radius, or like the velocity of the radius. And what they tell me is that r equals 3. Okay, so if I go ahead and start the problem now, I do have a situation I'm going to have to take care of. I can take care of it now, or I might not realize it yet. I'm just going to keep going, and I'll do it when we are forced to realize it. But you kind of have a choice when you do this thing that I haven't really done. Let's take the derivative. What's the derivative of v? Not 0. What's the derivative of x? 1. So the derivative of v is 1, but you took the derivative of a v, so what do you multiply by? dv over dt. So this is dv over dt. And then I'm taking the derivative of the right-hand side. So I bring down the 3, I multiply it by the 4/3 in front, so that just becomes 4 pi r squared, but then what do I multiply by? I took the derivative of an r, so I multiply by dr over dt. Yeah.
Oh,
I brought down the 3, I multiplied by the number in front. What else would that be? Oh, I forgot here. And you drive to school.
Yeah. I can't see that far.
That didn't make me feel better.
Like, you just need to know abstract.
man, I will never ever drive with you ever.
What are you,
Period.
cube origin?
If you see a big cube coming towards you, you don't go. Oh man.
Okay. Alright. So, I don't know the RDT, that's my, what I'm looking for. I know R, I kind of know dBdt, but I don't exactly know it yet. I want you to take a second and try to find out exactly what dBdt is. Like the dBdt right now has a V in it, right? But I don't want that V there. Fortunately, I can find that V. That's what I want you to do. You you said, is that a 3? I was like, oh, I must have written it horribly or something. It's a perfectly beautiful equation. It's what? Right?
It actually is rather impressive.
It's a good 3, and you can't see that. He's driving cars. Okay. So V goes there. Well, V is 4/3 pi times R cubed. What's R?
3.
R is 3. So it's 4/3 times pi times 27. So it is actually 36 pi. So dV dt is actually 1. You see what I'm doing? You with me? Yes? No? Words? Responses?
Yes. Bueno.
Bueno? Pile? Well, I got a maybe. I wasn't sure what that meant. You alright? I gave you the radius.
I thought we were trying to find dr over dt.
We are. But like if when I went to plug in dV over dt, it's 36 over v. That's not really helping me because there's still a variable. So I had to figure out the volume, then put the volume in place of the v.
So dv over dt is 1, but we're not.
So 1 equals 4 pi times 3 squared times dr over dt. Correct, we're not done yet. So all I did was dv dt is 1, r is 3, dr dt I don't know. Got it. dv over dt, they told me it was 36 over v. Agree? Can you guys be quiet, please? I don't want to put v in here because that's a variable, so I'm going to try to figure out what v is, and then divide it out. Well, the volume of the sphere, like we said, is 4/3 pi r cubed. They told me r was 3, so I'm plugging in 3 to figure out what the volume is like right now. And that came up to 36 pi, so then if I stick that back in place of v, 36 pi over 36 pi is 1. Are you with me? So then I get down here, so 1 equals 36 pi times dr dt, so what's dr dt? 1 over 36 pi, and this would be in inches per second. Any other questions on that one? No. Wait, how would you simplify?
Like, if we put it in a decimal.
No, God, no, God, no, no, no.
But like we did calculate.
No!
Obviously. Okay. Not like in your head.
No!
Okay.
Any other questions?
Do you?
No! Try number. No, that was easier. Try number 5.
Spherical.
You want me to put the word perfectly in there? Spherical isn't good enough for you? An absolutely perfectly spherical balloon.
I know what I was.
There were like, I don't know what you call a 3-dimensional oval.
It's funny, I've been wondering that exact same thing. Because, no, I really have. My eye, that's how the shape of your eye is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And mine is turning into a cone. So I have to have the eye procedure. When I'm trying to describe it to people, I'm like, what is the 3D oval? What is the word for like a 3D
It's
oval?
egg.
Egg. Okay, yeah, egg shape. Yeah.
I'm sure there's an actual term for it, but
You do number 5. I will look up that term. that what it is?
One of the ellipses.
So you're not really working on that problem right now, are you?
Well, it doesn't take very long to look up 3D oval.
A cube is a cuboid. I mean, that.
Spherical.
So it's a circle. Circloid.
Work.
Do you guys have a lot of tests in a, like, what I'm trying to do is make you practice without a review. Are you forced to have to take a test without a review very often in any other AP class? Or am I'm just skilled in it. Okay.
Only Packer class. You can't really prepare for a review, but Packer gives us a test that's based, like gives us part of the AP test. So if you go to the AP website, you can review.
Okay.
Like, you get, like, basically review.
Okay.
Or if you take an AP practice.
Okay.
So you just give you part of the test, some review, but it needs to make yourself one.
Gotcha. So I'm trying to give you a list so you can hopefully like make yourself one. It sucks. It sucks without a review. I'm not being friendly. But hopefully I'm being friendly long term for you. Maybe not though. That's what it is. I still want you to go to college and be like, hey, where's my review? And the professor will like laugh at you. And you have no idea what to do. The answers are left. Take every single assignment I've given you.
I forget because we used to not having them there or not looking at things. So, especially when we do like
True. This is like homework.
shoot. That's not. Oh yeah.
David, watch your lens.
It clearly said shoot.
That's
You
the
just keep
problem.
saying it.
Okay, is
65?
that, like, easy? Yeah. Is that like easier than the last one, or
That's the
am I
same
just
difficulty.
done?
They're not that bad. Like once you get kind of the hang of what's going on, they're not that bad. Is it 65?
Yes.
Questions on it? How many had 65? Questions I can answer? How did you kind of have 65?
Well, I got the wrong answer, and then I looked at the answer and realized my mistake.
Yes,
and went back
that
and
is
fixed it. That's what I did. So I kind of got it.
Yes. I thought you were going to I'll talk to you later then. Okay. Let's try number one. Number one's tougher. I'm going to go through number one, doing it to show you why this method won't work. Like I'm going to go through kind of what you would first start to do, but what you would first start to do won't work. So, and then I'm going to erase that and start over. I'm telling you that so you can, if you want to write down the part that's not the right way or not, that's up to you. But the first process I'm doing here will not work. I just want to show you why and then how to fix it. Anybody know the volume of a code? There's a 1/3, yep.
Yeah, 1/3 R. I don't know. Just fire.
So it's still three-dimensional, right? So you still have to have three. There's an R, an R, and an H. There's still three levels of variables, but it's R squared H. It's one. They'll give it to you. So if I first start working through I'm not even going to like start labeling stuff yet. I'm just going to take the derivative, and I'm going to look at the derivative like this. Maybe there times this. So what rule do I need when I take the derivative? Product. I don't actually need chain. But I have a function with a variable times a function with a variable. Chain would be like if that parentheses was like squared or something, you know. So the derivative is, and again, this is not going to work, but I just want you to see why. Second thing, times the derivative of the first thing. So the derivative of this would be 2/3 pi r, but I took the derivative of an r, so multiply by dr over dt. So this is the second thing. This is the derivative of the first thing. Plus the first thing times the derivative of the second thing. What's the derivative of h? So dh over dt, right? You with me? Yeah. Okay. I don't think I've done anything controversial yet. Just take a product over there. dv dt is what I'm looking for. How fast? No, I'm sorry. It's not what I'm looking for. dv dt is what? 9 pi over 4. What's h? What's r? It's not 10. This kind of gets to the root of the issue too. What is h? I'm sorry, what is r? It's not 10. 10 is the radius of the cone. Is that how you're saying, Lauren? 10's how big the cone is. That's the radius of the actual cone. But the water in there is not at that level. So like at 7 centimeters, what's the radius? At 7 centimeters high, what is the radius? When the height is 7, is what they're telling us. What's the radius? What? So if you kind of draw out this cone, that's 10. So hold on, let me try to draw it actually to scale. That's 10, and that's 10. It's still not quite to scale, but it's better. That's the size of the cone. The amount of water in there, so you're right here. Probably should make the water blue, but that's okay. So if this is 7, what's the radius? What's this? Isn't that also 7? Aren't those just similar triangles? Your cone is 10 high and a 10 radius. Well, if the water's only 7 high, that's only the 7 radius. Fair enough? So this is 7. What's dr dt? I don't know. What's r? 7. What's dh dt? I don't know.
Well, what's both of those? Wouldn't they be the same because they're changing?
So in this problem they would, but we'll get into situations where they won't. So like if the radius is 10, the height is 30, it throws things off.
So would the
So I'm gonna do this. So this is what I want to know. In the current form, I can't know that because I don't know dr dt. So I want dh dt. But if I'm forced to know what dr dt is also, I can't find dh dt because I don't know dr dt. Like I can't find this variable if I don't know that. Right? So, this dr dt is a problem. I do not want there to be a dr dt there because I don't know what it is. How could I create a situation where there's not a dr dt? Where does the dr dt come from? the derivative of the r. So what if there were no r?
Whoa.
If there were no r, would there be a dr dt?
No.
There would not.
How are you going to do that?
Well, let's see what we can do.
Why can't you find out here? Can't you find out here?
How?
Because you know the rate at which the volume changes, you can figure out at which rate the radius changes every second.
But there were two missing variables.
Yeah, but like knowing how much the volume changes per second, would you also know how much the radius has to change per second?
That only works because they're equal. It won't work in other situations. Okay, so what can I do to get rid of r in that equation? Plug in what? No, because it's the r has to represent, it's a variable, it's changing as time passes, so I can't just say it's, it's 7 or it's 10.
You just erase it.
And just pretend the volume is 1/3 pi h.
Yeah.
That's what Raj does.
Just get rid of it.
That's alright.
No, Rod would start another equation.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Well, it's kind of what we're going to do. I know what we're going to do. What do you know about r?
It's the radius.
You know it's the radius.
It's like the 19th-ish letter, but I don't know.
Eamon, what do you got?
I'm not sure I figured it out. It's hard.
Did you figure out something?
Actually, it's 18. That's pretty close.
Nobody cares.
Sorry.
Well, so if the radius is 7, and you take the derivative of it,
That doesn't work because the radius isn't fixed at 7. How are r and h related to each other? They're the same, right? So instead of putting an r there, what could I put? So there's like a secondary equation. I mean, you don't necessarily need it in this case because it's so simple, they're just the same. But sometimes it'll be like r equals 2h, or r equals 1/3 h. Like that ratio might not be just equal. But instead of putting an r there, can I just go, okay, volume equals 1/3 pi h squared h, which is 1/3 pi h cubed? Isn't that the exact same thing? Does that make sense?
I never thought that.
So, take the derivative. What's the derivative of v?
dv over dt.
dv over dt. Bring down the 3, multiply by the 1/3 in front, so that's just 1. And then pi, reduce the power by 1 and multiply by dh over dt. And now, so the goal is to get down to where there's only one variable you don't know. And now we're there. So now we can just do our plug and chug and figure it out. So dv over dt is 9 pi over 4 equals pi times h is 7 times dh dt. Well, those pi's will cancel. And then 7 squared is 49, but I would divide by that 49, so it would actually end up on the bottom over here. So what's 4 times 49? It's so painful to me that...
196.
What's 4 times 50? 200, but you're only doing 49, so you got to subtract 4. So 196. How's that? Seem okay?
Yeah, you can.
Why?
Actually,
I didn't even check. There's no benefit to... I don't think you can, but there's no...
Feel nicer.
But we've talked about that, haven't we? Like, if you have 8 over 24, and that's right, and you screw up and reduce it wrong, like, all of a sudden you just lost a bunch of points. There's no...
Well, not if you don't circle.
Just don't reduce. Do number... 12. please. I'll give you the, like if any of these are on the test, I would give you the formula. So you need a secondary equation so you can get this down to one variable. Same thing we do in almost everything else. We try to get it down to one variable so we can take the derivative. We need to relate h and r somehow. So before it was easy because h equals r. What's the relationship here? R equals what now? 1/3 h, isn't it? That's like the other way. So instead of putting r there, what are you going to put? 1/3 h. Ha. Well, it depends which way you're going. It depends if you want it. So it'd be like h equals 3r. Or if you like divide both sides by 3, it's r equals 1/3 h. It just depends which way you do it. You with me? H is 3 times r. I agree with that. That's the same thing as saying r equals 1/3 h. Aren't they the same statement? Right? And so what I see like is a bunch of h's in the problem. So I'm trying to get rid of the r's in the problem. That's why I'm choosing that one instead of the one you said. That's 1/9, and then times 1/3. You said r equals 3h. So then if it's 30 centimeters tall, you're actually
Yeah.
So you got like a wide short cone instead of a skinny tall cone. You made it zoopy instead of. You used to say me. That was like 50 pounds ago. So now I'm not this anymore. Drew.
I was just
what rate is water being poured into the cup? That is what we're looking for. That. The 3/5 is actually pH. So this is your dH dt. It's 3 over h, but we also know h is 5, so it's 3 over 5. And then h is 5. That's the only two variables you have. Because we only have variables with h in them, we don't have any variables with r. I better not have a drdt, so that's why we're plugging in. I can't have a drdt means I can't have an r in the problem. And that's why we're plugging in this at the beginning, so that there is no r in the problem, so that there is no drdt, so I don't get stuck later. So before I keep going, like from here on, it's not too bad, I don't think. The hard part is getting to here, I believe. The questions I can answer on getting to here. Why did you do this? Where did this come from? What the holy hell is going on here? So, derivative of v, dv over dt. 3 times 1/27 is 1/9. Reduce the power by 1, so h squared, and then dH dt. So dv dt equals 1/9 pi times 5 squared times 3/5. So that's like 1/9 times pi over 1 times 5 squared times 3 over 5. Just kind of set it up as all fractions. So one of these 5s will go away with that one, and I will get 15 pi over 9. And that's volume, so that would be centimeters cubed per second. Could you reduce that? Yes, but there's no reason to. How many had that?
Yes.
Okay.
I got 75 pi over 45.
75 pi over 45 is the exact same answer.
Well, we did reduce and we went canceled out of 5.
So how many had 75 pi over 45 or 15 pi over 9? One of the two.
I knew what I did. I knew what I did wrong.
Okay. Questions? Okay. Let's go to number... I don't know. I kind of want you to just try the rest, actually.
What about the cube one?
Which one?
Like 11?
Hypothetical cube. There's a couple of those.
Like 11?
Yeah.
They're easier than you think. What's the formula for the volume of a cube? So let me go to number 11.
Length times width times height.
Well, but it's a cube.
So
So
it's just.
it's just length cubed, isn't it? Because they're all the same. That's the point of a cube. Try 11. Just try it right now. That didn't mean to sound sarcastic. I didn't know how to say it without
It's fine.
sounding sarcastic. That was one of those where I wasn't actually intending to. Yeah, I'm not saying we went through one of every kind. I'm just saying we got through enough that I want you to try it. And I'll go through whatever we need to go through tomorrow.
it's not just me and Caleb, it's everybody.
What?
When you don't know when we're done talking to you.
Well, a lot of it is what, Lord?
A lot of us need because I talk to myself a lot.
Okay, so I'm just going to start writing out what I know. This would be dV over dt. It is shrinking, so it's going to be negative. So it's going to be negative 27 over v. But I don't want that v there, so I'm going to go, okay, that's negative 27 over, well, what is the volume if each side is 3? 27. So isn't dV over dt just negative 1? And then L is 3, and I'm looking for dl over dt. So I take the derivatives, so that'd be dV over dt equals 3L squared times dl over dt. dV over dt is negative 1. L is 3. And then this would be, so 3 squared is 9, times 3 is 27. You would divide, so you'd get negative 1 over 27. That'd be like meters per second. Not cubed. It'd be minute. You're right, it's minute. It's meters per minute. Not cubed, though, because it's just a length. How many had negative 1 over 27? Oh, yeah, okay. Questions on it? Did I go too fast, too? What? You good? Okay. Harley, you just stretching, or you got some questions? So the rest of them are your homework. I don't know if you're going to be able to like knock them all out. Like I think there's going to be some that are a struggle. We'll go through those tomorrow. It's fine.
Has Steven commented on any of your videos? Does he still do that?
Not really anymore.